Welcome back. This is episode 4 of Suiting Up, and I'm your host, Paul Rabil. Quick shout out. This is our 4th week in to all you listeners who have joined us along the way for the first 3 episodes, and to those new listeners who are coming in today. Just wanted to thank you, and we're working hard to provide some great content in sports and business. Our next guest, he's an NFL athlete, but not your typical sized NFL athlete. He's 5'8", 194 pounds. Albeit he's fast as lightning. He's also played on 7 teams across 10 seasons. So that's non-traditional to the extent that the average player in the NFL is getting about 2.5 years in before either retiring, getting hurt, or ending for a number of other circumstances. Also non-traditional is this athlete has had his best year towards the tail end of his career, where most athletes have their most productive years in the beginning. In that most productive season, he carried the ball 235 times, over 1,200 rushing yards, and 8 touchdowns. That was with the Baltimore Ravens. And while being in Baltimore, we recorded this pod in the Rabil Company's offices in Baltimore. Equally as impressive to what he does on the field, our guest is an entrepreneur off of it. And he found a problem in the locker room, particularly around cleanliness, and created a solution. The product is called Shower Pill. And we'll talk micro and macroeconomics around his business. Additionally, he's a motivational speaker and sports performance coach. He regularly contributes and participates on leadership councils. We have a lot of fun in this interview. I hope you enjoy it. It's episode number 4 with NFL Pro Bowl running back Justin Forsett. Let me ask you something. Are you hiring? And if so, do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Opportunity cost is a phrase Rabil Events co-founder Mick Davis and I often go back and forth on. And more times than not, hiring needs to take place before we actually need the hire. Because once you need her or him and can't fill the position immediately, you're likely going to be missing out on that opportunity, which in our case means sales and revenue to the business. It's similar to raising money. Your hiring process should be roadmapped well in advance, and we've got a solution for you. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100+ job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job, better than anyone else. And that's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. There is no juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Finding out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, listeners to Suiting Up can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, absolutely free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/cross. Cross as in lacrosse, except the back half of the word, and that's CROSSE. ZipRecruiter.com/cross. And one more time, you can try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/CROSSE. So we're recording now. Excited to have you, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I guess let's start with football because it's been a major part of your life.
Right.
Dating back to Cal and then playing on multiple teams. It's 7 NFL teams?
Yeah, 7, 9 years.
Yeah. So what's that experience like playing professional football?
It's an amazing feeling. You work so hard throughout your life, and especially as a young kid dreaming about, man, I want to do this. I want to make it to the NFL one day and run out through a tunnel and have fans cheering or booing, and millions of people watching. That was something I always wanted, and to be, living it is just an amazing feeling. It's still surreal.
Is that what you did? So you knew that's what you wanted, right? I think it's so interesting. In sports, sometimes we can go that direction. I wanted to play in the NFL. I was telling you that earlier before we started recording.
Right.
But I didn't really want to. I didn't have that gut feeling. And in a way, I never really did in lacrosse. A lot of us find our passion in life much later but I've sat down with so many players that have made it into the NFL, and they were like, at all costs, I was going to be a football player.
Yeah.
Was that the case for you, and how did that develop?
It was, man, it was something I was good at early on.
Yeah.
I saw a guy named Barry Sanders.
That's right, man.
Play football. He was dynamic. He was short like me. He beat
Love
the
Barry.
odds. Exciting player to watch. And I was like, man, I want to do that one day. And it was a way for me to be able to provide for my family. I knew the possibilities of, being a doctor or lawyer. Those things were still available for me. But for me, I was going to use the game that I loved to kind of be my vehicle out of, poverty.
What would you say? Did you grow up in poverty?
Yeah, I mean, at one point in my life, I was, living out of a motel, bouncing around from house to house with my family. And, there was some good times, some really good times financially, but then there were some really bad times when the power is out and, you have to take baths with bottled waters and things like that. So we had it all. But, early on, I was like, man, going through all this adversity that I'm facing, I'm not going to let this define me. I'm going to allow it to refine me and be fuel to my fire. So I'm not going to allow my kids to grow up the same way I grew up and battle those different things that I battled. So that was kind of motivation.
What would you say, in addition to your motivation, was some of the strongest characteristics that you had that helped you accomplish that goal of playing in the NFL?
Work ethic.
Yep.
I feel like I was going to outwork anybody that I had to compete against. I knew that's what it took. I came from a blue-collar town. My dad was a blue-collar worker. He was a truck driver. He was a pastor. We had a restaurant for a while.
Yep. Entrepreneur.
He did everything.
That's right.
Just to...
Your dad, Rodney.
Yeah.
Restaurant owner.
Oh, nice. Good
yeah,
research.
man. We're in.
Yeah, man. He did it all. And I saw what it took to be successful. And... I knew there was no substitute for hard work, so I had to have that. And another one was faith. I had extreme faith in my abilities. I felt like, for me, I'm a faith-driven individual, so I had a passion. I felt like I had a purpose, and I believed that anything was possible. So those were two factors.
What when we take a deeper look at work ethic, especially with the talent pool in the NFL and everyone really working hard. How introspective are you in like measuring your work output? And is it like, I'm going to be in the weight room longer than the next person? I'm going to think differently than them and probably, get better output because I'm smarter about the way I'm training, the recovery that I'm doing. How do you encompass work ethic? Because it's cliche in a way that it gets thrown around so much.
Right.
And it's so difficult to dive in and understand like what makes this person better than that person when they're both training equally hard.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. For me, I knew what my limitations were. I knew what I had to work on early on. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the biggest. But my advantage was, it had nothing to do with the speed or the bench press or how high I could jump. It was all about here. It was all about here in my head and in my heart.
Yeah.
I knew that, when people were going out, partying, drinking or whatnot in high school, I was doing 1,000 push-ups and sit-ups a night.
That's right.
Because I wasn't going to let the next man outwork me at all costs. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm putting in the time and effort. So at the end of the day, I say, man, I was all in. I have no regrets. And then also being a little cerebral, and then just like, man, I have to be smarter than the next man, and that's getting my schoolwork. Make sure that I stayed on the field, and then while I was in the locker room or in training camp or in practice, make sure I was studying film, studying my opponent, seeing those tendencies, so that I wasn't just out there reacting to things. Like I anticipated things before they happened, and that gave me a step ahead of.
Probably a lot to do with why you've been able to play in the league for so long, especially with your position, right? What's the average expectancy for an NFL player? You probably know that better than me.
Yeah, it's like around 3 years.
3 years, right? And 9 seasons you've played. I mean, we're the same age. Odds are stacked against that, particularly being a halfback. So, how have you developed your strategy around longevity, and has it changed as you progress, particularly around like injuries and health and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff?
Of course, man. As you get older, your body can break down a little bit, and things aren't moving the way they used to.
It just really does.
Yeah. So
I mean,
whether it's your knees, your other joints, so you got to be smart, man. And thankfully, early on in my career, I had mentors. I had people with experience that was that was there to show me the way. Like I had guys like T.J. Duckett, Julius Jones, Edrin James, these type of guys that poured into me. And I was like, man, this is how you do it. This is how you have sustaining success in this league.
What were some of those tips?
So taking care of your body, making sure recovery, making sure that you're getting your massages, seeing the chiropractor.
How often do you get a massage and see a chiropractor?
At least once or twice a week.
Once or twice a week.
Yep.
Damn. And how much is that costing typically?
Yeah.
It's like $100 a session, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
But it's worth it. When you look at your ROI, you're like, hey, look at my player contract, and I'm.
And now, as I've gotten older in this league. Now teams are starting to provide, so it's not as bad financially.
That's huge.
So that's a huge asset that you have. The greatest team that I played with was the Broncos in that regard of just making sure the players had everything accessible to them too.
See, and as you take a bigger step, whenever it is you decide that you're done playing into entrepreneurship, which you've already started now, and we'll get into that in a second, my guess is that it becomes less about like your weekly chiropractor, but the importance of nutrition and recovery remains the same for entrepreneurs, especially when you're going long hours and you need to put in quality output. So what are some of the nutrition hacks that you have, like, or recovery? Like, what is some of the advice that you've gleaned from your mentors that you can share with us?
Yeah, man. For me, that was one of the advantages that I would have over competition. Because people just take it for granted. Like when you're young, you just feel like, man, I can eat whatever, put anything in my body, and I'll be able to play forever. And then you get older, you realize like, no, that's not the case. You start feeling a little sluggish. Depending on what you put in your body. So for me, being able to eat right throughout the off season, kind of, of course, I'll have a cheat day or whatnot. I won't say I'm here, just on this.
So what in a best day scenario, what are you putting in your body?
So lots of greens. Doing a lot of like salmon,
fish,
chicken, not too much red meat, not too much pork. Just trying to make sure that I feel good when I'm putting good things in my body.
What's your favorite green?
Oh, man.
I like to go in kale. I mean, I'm like a big kale guy, spinach guy.
See, I had a bad experience with kale.
Oh, yeah?
That kind of threw me off. I got food poisoning.
Oh,
and
because it goes bad quick. That's the problem. We'll talk about shelf life with shower pill, but like, you know what I mean?
Man,
shelf life on kale sucks.
It was crazy. So I have it every once in a while, but my favorite green, I would probably say, would be broccoli.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's fair.
I'm a broccoli guy.
For a lot of this stuff, have you ever found yourself, particularly as it's proliferated more recently, getting into wearable technology to track, using data to like track sleep or workouts and fitness? I'm sure some of your teams will mandate it, and others it's just like a personal preference.
Right. Yeah, I haven't personally, but been on teams that kind of is into tracking that kind of stuff. I was with the Jaguars, and they would track how many miles you were running during practice, or how fast you were going, just measuring different types of output. But for me,
you got it all upstairs.
Yeah,
you're thinking about it all the time.
Exactly.
And kind of revisiting your upbringing through moments of poverty, and then having your dad as one of those mentors, as you mentioned. And being the entrepreneur that he was, that's carried over too. And I'm hearing this pattern where you're identifying shortcomings in some of your peers that you're ultimately competing against, and saying, "Hey, I'm going to outwork this person. I'm not going to go out. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to sleep more." You see it a lot in the NFL or the MLB or NBA. These massive contracts and guys just spending money. And there's been some articles that I've read about you and how frugal you are in nature, despite bigger contracts than an average professional across any industry. Is that something that's carried over as well? And what is the thought process behind your financial freedom?
Man, for one, that motivation I was talking about early on, like, man, I know where I came from, and I'm gonna fight as hard as I can to make sure that my family is taken care of. So I want to make sure that I'm leaving a legacy of financial stability. I want to make sure I'm leaving a legacy of what work ethic looks like, hard work, sacrifice, discipline. So that carries over from the football field into the finances. So for me, I'm all about saving. No debt, I've just had too many bad experiences. I've seen it growing up. Like no one in my family, my immediate family, has owned a house. So for me, being able to buy my first house, this off season is something huge for me, and it's something I'll be able to pass on to my kids, because I don't want them to go through the things that I went through, bouncing around from house to house, renting and always paying. Actually have some ownership of something. So that's kind of.
Do you use a financial advisor?
I do.
Yeah. So and so how involved in that process are you of deciding whether you're going to invest in a savings account, in mutual funds, in the stock market, into your own business as you've done, into real estate?
Yeah, so it kind of works as a good partnership that I've had. My guy, Joey from KM Capital down in Austin, has been amazing. Some guys, athletes, they have all this money and they'll just let the financial advisor just like, hey, man, you go, take care of the money stuff. But I don't, that's not the smart way to go about it. And I think with anything else, teamwork, two minds come together, it's better than one. He presents some opportunities for me. We look over, discuss. I have questions. I want to know why. I want to know what. I want to know what's the return. I want to know everything before we make a decision. And at the end of the day, that's how we make decisions and try to be responsible and, be making safe investments.
Yeah. So as we kind of transition to the business side, because you have a really cool product that you've built and are currently raising money for in Shower Pill, I want to talk about that. As way of transition to that, though, what are a couple of things that our listeners can hold on to as a utility and that you found taking from the field into business is been really helpful, aside from work ethic, right? We know working hard is important. You've mentioned teamwork. I won't give you my answer, which it sounds like I'm doing. But what are some things that you currently do now? Because remember, you're a current player. That's really rare.
Yeah. For me, starting this business when two of my former teammates at UC Berkeley, I just didn't want to just have my name on something. I want to be a part of it. I'm a man that's willing to put in some sweat equity and. I wanted to make this thing grow, this brand, this company that we're building. So what I realized is that as athletes, our makeup and kind of all the things that we go through, it translates and it transfers over to the business world quite a bit. That competitive drive that we have, of course, the work ethic, the teamwork, being able to form that chemistry.
I like the competitiveness.
Yeah, it's. That competitive drive, like it just, for me, being a part of the sales force of my company, being able to go out and pitch and be that spokesperson, like being able to close a deal.
That's right, man. Sales is the foundation of any successful company.
Yes.
You have a great idea, a great product. If you don't know how to sell your shit.
Exactly. And another thing, especially on the field, one of my core principles is excel at what you can control. For me, a lot of people say control what you can control.
Yeah.
I think that you must excel at what you can control. Because
I like that.
when you, for me, throughout my entire career, I've never been like I said, the fastest. So, I'm 5'8", 194 pounds. Like that's an anomaly for my position. So what kept me was me being able to excel at what I could control, and that was my attitude, that was my effort, that was me being able to lead and serve and make people better around me. Those things kept me until I got my breakthrough, which was couple years ago in Baltimore when I had a breakout year, went to the Pro Bowl and all that stuff, got a big contract. So those things will keep you while you're waiting on your breakthrough and your moment. Opportunity comes for you to really shine, and in business it's the same thing. Like, man, you can't control you can't control who invests in your company. I know you have these big aspirations and goals, and you see all these companies flourishing. Just stay in your lane, stay where your feet are, excel at what you can control, and you'll be great.
That's right. I love that, man. Excel, not just control what you can control. Right. Excel at it.
You got to be great, because for me on the football field, since I'm so small by industry standards, for me, when I got a football in practice, I wanted the coaches to notice me on every single snap that ball was in my hand. So instead of when most people run 20 yards after they get the ball or carry the football,
take it 40.
I'm going to the end zone.
Yeah,
I'm going to the end zone because they're going to see, man, this is something different about this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is standing out on the field. So when I'm in the weight room, I'm out there encouraging guys. I'm lifting guys up, making guys better. So
well, let's pause there, because I think that there's a level of self-awareness that you have to have, which is clear. That you're understanding, hey, this is maybe my size that I was born with, and I'm going to excel at these controllables that I have in front of me. It takes self-awareness. The other one, though, is being vulnerable, right? A lot of people pass on a position of leadership because when you take that position, there's always going to be, hopefully, less than 20%, but you have the 10% of any company or any team that is negative towards leadership because it's not cool, or that guy is maybe kissing up to the coaches. Talk about that, like, emotional experience. Is it you just don't even care?
Yeah, you gotta be willing to take risk. And if you want to be successful, there's an old saying that people have. What is it? It's scared money doesn't make money. So if you're not going to be great if you're worried about what everybody else thinks of you, like, you got to be willing to take that risk, stand out, and be different, and not worry about fitting in. And great leaders find a way to kind of bring it all together where it doesn't appear as if you're some guy higher than everybody else. It's not about having a boss. It's about leading. It's about doing work you're on the ground with these guys, and you're leading them the right way. A real leader knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way.
And he's connecting with his teammates too. Yeah, I think that's really important. So I don't want to go back and go off too much, but I want to hear a little bit more about what you control. And it's a question that we ask on this show to all of our guests, which is the home screen on your phone. So I'm going completely off, but it'll make sense in the way that we start talking and understanding your thought process. Home screen on your phone, what are the apps on it?
The apps, man. Twitter.
Okay. Yep. So we have social, right?
Yeah. Instagram. I gotta look at it.
Yeah, you can pull it out.
I got my.
It's a really interesting subconscious experiment, because we load. We don't want to scroll to the apps that we use the most, so we load that up front.
House. Because I'm, building the house right now.
Right. Yep.
So Airbnb, some of the things, Candy Crush.
Are you Airbnb-ing?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Man, frugal,
love man.
That.
Yeah,
that's a great experience.
Hey man, you
probably glean a bit from that platform and understand, like, hey, this is the way that, like, consumers are moving right now. At least with housing and transportation.
It's an awesome experience, man. And you talk about, in order to sustain wealth, one of the principles is living below your means and finding ways to kind of cut the fat. So to speak. Making sure that, like, man, I know I could spend top dollar and probably go to 4 seasons, but I want something that makes sense, and I want something that follows my principles of, maintaining long-standing wealth. And if it doesn't make sense to me and financially, and it doesn't pass the say it out loud test for me, then I'm gonna pass, and I'm gonna go the route where it's probably more cost effective, and I'm gonna be smart with my money.
Yeah, making sense is a lot of part of the premise of your company right now, which I think the origin story that you shared with me earlier was really interesting, and it ultimately will be the challenge, as you know, in consumer packaged goods, of telling your story concise and in short form such that the consumer gets it right away and purchases your product. But Shower Pill is what you've self-funded, have been working on since 2010?
2012.
2012.
We first started and we commercially launched in 14.
In 14. So that origin story, tell us about it again.
So Shower Pill is just a saying that we used to say in the locker room. It goes all the way back to like the 70s, 80s. Guys like Ronnie Lott, Joe Montana, those guys would even know about it. It's the shower pill moment. It's people would say shower pill when after practice they couldn't get into a shower. It was a hypothetical joke like, man, there's pills for everything, but there's no pill for a shower. So it's like, man, I can't take a shower right now. So, hey, I'm taking a shower pill, guys. So everybody knew, like, this guy is not getting in the shower.
And he smells.
And he smells. So we realized as athletes, like, man, throughout the course of our dynamic days, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, like at Point of Sweat, where we're doing yoga or doing all these different exercises and whatnot, like we're sweating.
We're sweating more than the chiropractor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you know, and a shower is optimal, but not always possible. So we create products for those moments, for the active individual on the go, whether you're camping, soccer mom, or fitness enthusiast, you know, we create products for you.
And I think that the first reaction, though, is like, okay, what's different between this and like just typical cleansing wipes?
Sure.
And I asked you earlier about baby wipes and all that kind of stuff.
So we have our body wipe, our athletic body wipe. It's an antibacterial wipe where it's kind of what we like to say is a washcloth meets a wipe. So it's a large premium wipe, sturdy wipe, where not only can a place kicker use it, but also a 300-pound lineman could use it. It'll be sturdy and durable enough where you can really scrub thick. And for as you know, those wet wipes or baby wipes that people use, they have alcohol in it. We don't have alcohol in our product. We still kill 99.9% of all germs. And
you're right; it doesn't have that alcohol smell. On
it. We don't have it, so it won't dry your skin out. We actually have vitamin E and aloe vera in our product, so actually keep your skin smooth, and you'll be feeling great after a workout. And you know, we don't advertise it as a shower substitute, but if you're working out and you know throughout your lunch break, and you know you want to get back and feel clean and fresh, you know, use our product.
So this is like incredibly impressive, and one of why I'm really stoked about this show is that you're operating, right? And that's hard. It's very different than what people know about like entrepreneurs or just investors. Is like you're on the ground and you're operating this thing from understanding the sales channels. You're out raising money. You're managing a team. You guys are out west, right? The company. How do you manage your time? How are you able to do this?
Well, a good thing about, you know, all of our founders, the two guys that are my business partners, we all went to Cal. And going to a school like that, it kind of prepares you for like next level and gives you those skills that you need to be successful. And one of those skills is, you know, prioritizing and having time management skills, because when you go to a school like that, you have to be great. You want to be great on the football field, but academics is competitive as well. So you have to make sure that you're on the books and you're splitting your time out wisely, because if you don't get your books and get your schoolwork, then you're not going to be on the field. Because, you know, UC Berkeley it's tough. It's
very tough. So then a typical day right now, while you're training, while you're getting recovery in, like, when are you carving out time?
For Shower Pill.
That's right.
So I wake up 5:30. Workout start for me at 5:30 in the morning.
What time do you go to bed if you're waking up at 5:30? I have to ask that.
Oh man, 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So not too much, but enough. It's good for me. I'm ready to roll. And I'll get up, work out for about an hour or so. Come back, make breakfast for my kids, get them off to school. Come back, spend some time around 9 throughout the day to just do Shower Pill stuff. Working on the business, and you know, I'm traveling. I'm also a public speaker, so I go around and speak to like corporate America.
I saw that. It takes time, and I guess
more time.
Your agency books a lot of that, I would imagine, and
Yeah, so for me,
or do you handle that in-house?
I handle it's something that another venture I'm kind of handling on my own, just building that brand and building up my portfolio and
as a motivational speaker.
So I do that as well, and just making sure that the main thing I keep the main thing, and for me, it's my faith, family, and football, and and my company. So I make sure that my family is taken care of. I make sure that I'm investing in them and spending time with them, quality time with them. But also, I can, when they're away or they're at school, and my wife is doing things, that I'm carving out time for the business.
So the business right now is you're in the middle of raising a round. It's your seed round, right? You're raising $1 million.
Yep.
What's that process been like for you, doing friends and family, meeting with angels and meeting with a couple of VCs, right?
Yeah, man, it's been exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, just the competitive juices in presenting and, just trying to capture the moment and seize every opportunity that I get to be able to share the product, because we've had success. Some of these like VC firms, like they will invest in an idea, and give millions of dollars to an idea, but to have a company that's shown like, man, year-to-year growth, these last 2 or 3 years, and you actually have something that's making money. So if it gives you a
real
little
business.
Yeah, it's a real business.
You're not pre-money.
No, exactly.
How many units have you guys sold?
I'd say last year we sold probably around, we made around $300,000-$400,000.
Yep. And
Last year.
these are retailing at $9.99.
Yep.
And what's the cost to make one?
It's around I'll say our margins around like 55%.
Yeah.
I want to say, so pretty good margins.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact cost off the top of my head, but pretty good margins.
Yeah. So I'm understanding that like roles and responsibilities for you in this business is like product, brand, distribution, marketing. That's some of the areas that you excel in, and then obviously capital. You're making your rounds now.
Yeah, strategic partnerships.
That's right, strategic partnerships. So you guys are raising $1 million on a 4.5 cap.
Yep.
Is that what you said? That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, man, it's been thrilling, man, and to see people that actually get it, man. It's not something that we have to force. Like, man, it's like, man, I have those moments of talking to an investor, like, man, I ride my bike to work. This will be perfect. Talking to some people like, man, I have yoga. I have, I'm going to Soul Cycle, and I want to be able to wipe down before I pick my kids up from school. Like, it's like, man, I would love this product. So
strategic partnerships. So are you looking at going to businesses too? Have you already? Like, I would look, as you mentioned, like the Soul Cycles of the world, the Equinox, of course, are the ownership group there. Hospitals.
Yeah.
Teams.
Yep. Teams. So we're in a couple organizations right now, colleges and pro. For pro and some of the sports teams that have showers ready available for guys, our product has been used for like post-surgery. Guys break stuff and you're in a cast, you can't get in the shower, you can't get areas wet on your body. Being able to wipe down with the shower peel, athletic body wipe, has been a huge asset for them.
I gotta imagine the medical space is the biggest target. Because it would just be huge, but it's probably really difficult to penetrate.
Yeah.
Is that an area that you've highlighted, and are you running point on that, or is one of your co-founders?
No, I am. So, trying to work on something right now with Johns Hopkins.
There you go.
Trying to get in there.
Come on, man. Hopkins grad right here.
Exactly. Put in a word for us. So we're trying to. We're definitely we see that as a huge opportunity for us, and it's the thing is. Early on, I would say one of the struggles for myself and the company was there's so many different ways this thing could go. You can do hospitals, you can do sports, you could do travel, you could do military, but you want to make sure for me. There's a difference between a flood and a river. A river can be very helpful. A flood can be very damaging because it's just all over the place.
Yep.
We want to be focused, and we want to make sure that we're more so like the river, and we have identity. We know who our customer is, and we attack that, saturate that market, and then move on. So
and excel in that area.
Excel
that control.
In that area.
Yeah, that's right. What are your focused or your strategy specifically with sales, like on the ground? And I know you're on the strategic side with partnerships, but what's your direct-to-consumer strategy? You guys all offered online. How are you generating those leads? How are you converting?
So, dealing with the strategic partnerships, like, we deal with a race called the Ragnar Relay, and trying to multiply, opportunities like that. Maybe, partner up with some cool organizations like a Tough Mudder or Spartan race and
so
things
going to
like
events for sales.
Going to events like that, but online. Word of mouth and, kind of building up a subscription model, kind of like the Dollar Shave Club, where people can, just buy, monthly, like have it already coming in.
These are one-use things,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. Are you guys on Amazon?
Yeah, we're on Amazon.
Yeah, and they have their subscription service available. Do you use that as the company?
Yes, yes. So, and on our website.
And this is a one-use thing.
Yeah, one use.
Yep. And so, as I get my subscription to Showerpill, how many of these do I go through, or do you go through on a weekly or monthly basis?
Depends on how active you are. Like if you're a professional athlete, it might be a little more than the average person, but
which is probably your average consumer. So,
right, exactly. So I say it comes in a box of 10 for $9.99. I would say most people use probably like 4 a week.
Yeah,
depending on what their workout schedule looks like.
That's probably right.
Yep.
That's really interesting. Is that competitive or in the same price range as, the standard, I don't want to call them baby wipes, but cleansing wipes? You're probably getting, I don't know, 50 to 100 for $5.
Yeah, but
so is there like a conflict, or is there a point of inflection?
I think our advantage is that we're a quality wipe. Like you're going to get the same quality no matter what. When you get like those bucket of wipes, like you're not going to get the same wipe. Like some will be a little wetter than the other, or more wet than the other, or some will be dried out by the time you get to the
take one out, and then it's open, and then the next one gets stale and dries out.
So we keep the kind of integrity of the wipe, because it's packaged the way it is, and
your purpose is different, right?
Yes.
Like we're not. Is that right to say that like people aren't cleansing their bodies using baby wipes?
No. We're kind of cornering that market where, like, man, we're the product for the person that's active and on the go and wants to be able to wipe down, from head to toe.
Your advisors, one of them's Ronnie Lott.
Yes.
Is a really sophisticated and successful venture capitalist himself.
Right.
Many folks don't know that about him and Joe Montana's post-career. So talk about that relationship with Ronnie, how influential he is, as well as your other advisors.
It's been awesome, man. One of the things is, this company is built by athletes for athletes. Mm-hmm. So having partnerships like a Ronnie advising you, because he's had so much success on the field and into the VC world, in the Silicon Valley world, it's been hugely important for us. Mm-hmm. And having his expertise, like, man, he's had success, he's had failures, and he's kind of leading us in the direction that we need to go. And also being, partnering with these guys, like former athletes, like partners that we have, like a Kyle Juszczyk, like a Steve Smith, that are on board as well. Like, man, these are also brand ambassadors that can go out there and be spokespeople for our company, as well as partners and investors. So it's been great to have these guys on board.
Do you think, for these influencers and ambassadors that you have, do you think there's a ton of power in social media?
Oh, man, there's a ton.
Does it convert to sales for you, or is it more like brand awareness, or both?
Man, just the other day, like, I'm live tweeting on HGTV.
Yep.
And I'm talking about, what show am I watching? One of the shows I'm watching, I'm live.
The Bachelor.
It's on HGTV. Okay. So I'm watching one of these home improvement shows, and I'm tweeting and whatnot. I tweet something about my company, and in my profile it talks about, man, I'm co-founder of Showerpill. Mm-hmm. Guys, like, man, tell me more about this Showerpill, man.
People are responding with that.
People are responding because it's like, man, I have those moments. I have those times where, like, man, a shower is optimal, but not possible. So it's like, man, I'm buying product right now. So I would have those type of things happen to me throughout the course of the week. And it's
huge.
a sale for me.
Every sale, when you're a startup, every sale is meaningful.
It all matters, man.
Do you think Twitter is your most powerful engine?
I think so. I believe so.
Why do you, what, other than obviously converting on sales?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's also more interest in Twitter than some of the other platforms for you.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I can communicate better on the Twitter platform. Instagram is cool, Facebook is cool, but I can track it a little bit better on my timeline when it comes to Twitter. For me personally, I feel like, and it gives me a little more room to kind of inspire, and that's what I love to do.
Yep.
I love, even with my company, we like to say that, man, we're not just a company with a mission, but we're sort of a mission that just so happens to be a company. Because anybody that knows anything about me, they know that I love to serve and help people, and I want to use everything that I have to try to better this world and leave it better than what I found it. Is what I like to say. So I want to be able to use shower pill to change the narrative of an athlete. That narrative that says, man, most of these athletes come from these low income backgrounds, poverty stricken backgrounds. They go to school, get educated, they go to the pros and get drafted, make all these millions of dollars, only to end back up a few years later into poverty.
Yep.
Or in low income, depressed, bankrupt, or divorced. So I want to kind of change that narrative, man. If you can be whatever you put your mind, don't let football or sports become your identity. I mean, you could be so much more than just, running a football or picking up a stick, playing lacrosse. Like, I look at guys like a Ronnie Lott, like a Michael Jordan, even in the music game, like a Sean P. Diddy Combs or a Jay-Z, that kind of transcend, their work where they started. Right. They thought more. It's like, man, I could be an entertainer, I can be a rapper, a musician, but I can be more if I choose to.
Man, that's spot on. It's the duality of the modern athlete or entrepreneur,
exactly,
or entertainer. So, shower pill being so much a part of your narrative, from the business perspective, putting the financial hat back on. What is an ideal scenario for this company? Is it to exit? You mentioned Dollar Shave Club. Is it to you have good margins to just be a cash flow business that you're operating for as long as you're alive and passionate about the business? Or is it something that you want to position into Justin's greater portfolio of businesses down the road, and you're multi-operating a number of different businesses at a time?
Yeah.
What does that end game look like for this company?
Well, I'll be lying to you if I said I would be mad if Under Armour or somebody Johnson & Johnson wanted to come in and buy us out and we exit, but also continue to be a part of the plan and the business as it grows and maneuvers. But that's kind of where I see it right now. We'll play it by ear as things keep going. But
you're like, Paul, man, I'm raising a seed round right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have. Are you going to continue to go down that route? Do you forecast multiple rounds after this seed?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to kind of do our part, control what we control, excel at what we can control right now, put it in a position where we have all options available. Yeah.
And you talked about P. Diddy, and you've got a hobby as well of performing in music.
You found that.
Yeah. Is that something that you're continuing to pursue, or is it purely an outlet that you have?
Man, it's just something I do in the shower every once in a while.
Sing?
Yeah, sing.
But you play too? What instruments do you play?
I played the sax in middle school, taught myself a little bit of the piano.
Yep.
So I was in the choir, I played the drums in church. So those things, I kind of have in my back pocket.
Right.
But it's cool, and I probably need to sharpen up on some of those instruments. But it's just... more so a hobby, a low hobby. Yeah,
and I know that you've mentioned it several times, faith and family, how important that is to you. Yeah. Music, you're an operator, you're playing, you're training. How are you continuing to maintain healthy mindfulness? Do you meditate? Do you do, you read a lot? Like what are some of those areas where you're looking to continue to excel and grow?
Definitely read a lot, whether I'm in my Bible or books from authors that I like a Jim Gordon.
Yep. Jim Gordon's a motivational guy as well.
Exactly.
In
Lacrosse
sports.
guy as
there
well.
You go. Yeah.
So
shout out to Jim Gordon and the hard hat, right?
Yeah. John Gordon. John Gordon.
Sorry,
John Gordon. He would kill me.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Gordon and the hard hat and Training Camp was one of my favorite books. But just some of those guys, some of those things that I like to do, reading. I do get time of prayer in, obviously, and I go into worship service every Sunday. So yeah, stay balanced.
That's a big part, staying balanced.
Yeah.
And it's clear that you've created quite a life so far, and just wanted to thank you for joining us and sharing a little bit about it. It's not easy operating a company and playing as a professional athlete, so I definitely want to commend you for all that. And it's impressive, and everyone should check out Shower Pill. Where can they purchase one?
Showerpill.com, or you can go to Amazon and pick us up.
Yeah.
We're in a lot of small boutique gyms across the country, but e-commerce is the way to go.
Yeah, keep it up. And where can someone spot you on your motivational speaking tour?
Man, I'll be traveling around a bit this off season. I'll keep you posted on Twitter.
Is it primarily like bookings based?
Yeah, bookings based. So I'll be in a couple cities across the country this year.
Cool, man. Thanks, Justin.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Paul.
One more time, big shout out to Justin Forsett. Wow, what an impressive dude. Sports, entrepreneurship, motivation, leadership, he's got it all. I encourage everyone to follow him across all of his social medias. Check out the Shower Pill product, it's great. And with that, now we're 4 episodes in, and you might be catching my non-traditional vibe with the show. I'll continue to experiment with longer form conversations like this one, also explore some short form chats. But ultimately, inviting you into the room with me is my priority. I want you to feel that this content is raw and unedited, and you're as much as part of the conversation as I am, or Justin, or the rest of our guests. And of course, if you have any feedback, shoot me a tweet. It seems to be the best forum for us communicating via the content of this pod. It's at Paul Rabil, R-A-B-I-L, for those of you that don't watch or know what lacrosse is. This medium is one I'm very attuned to growing and appreciate your criticisms as much as I do your encouragement. And so with the encouragement, I'd ask that you please subscribe. Also give us a rating and review. It certainly helps the podcast grow. There's more on each guest and show, including show notes on suitinguppodcast.com. That's suitinguppodcast.com. One more time, thank you to our sponsor, ZipRecruiter. Thank you to Justin Forsett. And all of you listeners out there, I'll catch you next week.